Before we get started, I want to make it abundantly clear that all the bows that I'm going to show you in this video, no matter what their draw weight, are capable of killing or seriously injuring a human being. Bows are not toys. Howdy folks, Tex Grebner here with Tex Grebner Outdoors. New videos every week. Motivational Mondays, Weird Wednesdays, and of course your Tex Grebner Outdoors Saturday morning cartoon awesomeness. It is dangerous to release too much of my awesomeness all at once, so you got 3 chances to tune in, and if you don't want to miss out on any of it, you better click subscribe and check that notification box. And while you're at it, take time to leave me a comment to let me know that you were here. I do read all your comments, and I truly appreciate all of you that watch. This is a 100-pound composite horse bow. Now, because I am super badass, I am able to draw this bow back all the way with only one finger. So now we're going to put the bow on the scale here. That's right, 22 pounds of draw weight. I know, you're shocked and appalled. This is a 20-pound composite horse bow for use in combat archery and live-action role play. With that being said though, in tribal cultures with lightweight bows, they are still deadly and dangerous. However, with that being said, you can literally do any style of shooting that you want with a bow that is in a LARP approved draw range. LARP archery, live action role play, and combat archery is only safe because they use impact safe points and comparatively light draw weight bows for safety. However, with an actual arrowhead, a bow is a deadly weapon, and I am not volunteering to be shot by a 20-pound bow. And you can shoot really, really fast. The great masters of true combat archery were some real badasses. I believe in legitimacy, because at any time I can be walking around an archery shop, and if I make a claim that I can't substantiate, then frankly I'm a fraud, and somebody can walk up to me and ask me, hey, put that bow on the scale, bro. Let's see if it actually draws 100 pounds. So I'm a big fan of being 100% legitimate in all that I do. So we're just going to put this bow on the scale here, and I'm going to pull it down with an arrow to where I've got it marked for full draw, and I'm going to show you just what these bows actually draw at a full draw. So this is my 100-pound white wolf. And we're looking at 101 pounds at a 28-inch full draw. So now we have my barbarian bow, as I call it, because the composite bow style has been used by many different people over the centuries in the past. So now we're going to pull this one down. So this one is 102 pounds at a full draw, and I can in fact prove that I can draw all the way. So it wouldn't be a Weird Wednesday if we didn't actually make it weird. I have a huge fetish for heavy draw weight bows, and the reason is because when I was a child, back in 6th grade English class, we read the Odyssey. The Odyssey is basically about Odysseus and his trip home from the Trojan War. Now, near the end of the Odyssey, spoiler alert, he manages to get back to Ithaca. However, there are suitors for his wife, a bunch of young men from the island that have basically showed up, are drinking all his wine, eating all his food, and fucking all his serving girls, and trying to court the favor of his wife because they think he's never coming home. So after several years, she finally gets to the point where she is going to marry one of them. She's given up hope that Odysseus is ever coming home, but she wants to measure them up. So she goes into the war room of Odysseus in his mansion, gets his bow, and says, "Any man among you that can string this bow and shoot an arrow and hit the mark, I will wed that man. But if none of you can do it, you swear me a solemn oath, you'll get lost." So all these young men try and string this bow. None of them can do it, let alone even draw it back. So then Odysseus, who is there in disguise, asks to be given the bow to prove his strength. Nobody thinks he can do it. So naturally, being the badass that Odysseus is, he strings up the bow, draws it back, and hits the mark. He then proceeds to dump the arrows out of the quiver onto the floor and slaughter all of the suitors in his hall that have been defiling his hospitality in his absence. So that's pretty bloody and pretty badass, and so that is the origin of my fetish for heavy draw weight bows. It just seemed like the epitome of badass. In the interest of full candor, this is not going to be particularly scientific, nor is it going to be particularly scholarly. I don't have any period correct arrows for my 200-pound bows. I also don't have a chronograph to shoot them through right now, and I also don't have any period correct armor to test them on. What I have, however, is some $100 Amazon.com Roman muscle armor, which is about the same thickness as an oil drum. And on the inside here, I have the hind quarter of a foam bear target that I cut apart, and I've got it ratchet strapped onto the tree. Now, obviously, there are existing holes in this because I had to test this concept before I actually went ahead and made a video about it. Now, while I'm at it, this isn't going to be done terribly far away because I'm going to be rotating through bows and I don't want to be losing my arrows. So we're going to be doing this test at 10 yards. This bow here is a 20-pound LARP bow. LARP stands for live action roleplay. Now, I do have some Tonkin cane arrows here. I do not have any period correct cane arrows or Yumai arrows for my Mongol / Hun bow, but I'm here at 10 yards and I wanted to demonstrate that this bow only draws 20 pounds at a full draw. And as you can see, it bounces off. The reason that I have this bow is obviously because it is an example of a LARP archery bow that is lightweight in draw weight, looks legitimate, and with proper Boffer Sports points, you would not injure somebody by shooting them in a LARP scenario with a bow like this. You can literally do any kind of draw technique that you want. Palm out, thumb style, Apache style, and of course classic Mediterranean style, as we call modern archery. With a bow this light, you can basically do any kind of technique that you want to do. This bow draws 50 pounds. Again, I'm using a U-Buy style arrow here. And it still bounces off. Now here we have my 100-pound composite bow. Now I'm going to be using a different style point, but I'm also going to be using another style point just to prove a point. But that penetrated and stuck. This time I'm going to be using a standard field point. That penetrated and stuck. So we do know that at 100 pounds, at 10 yards, we can penetrate that armor. Now, of course, the 100-pound white wolf
Arrows from both 100-pound bows, no matter what their point style, penetrated through the front plate of the armor, penetrated the arrow-resistant foam, and stopped at the rear plate of the armor.
So let's go have a look. So this shot here penetrated and stuck in the armor. This shot here penetrated and stuck in the armor. This shot and this shot were with the 100-pound composite bow. These two shots that also stuck are from the 100-pound modern recurve. So I know I'm going to be catching hell about doing it on the wrong side of the bow. However, at this point in time, while it is dangerous to release too much of my awesomeness all at once, I can't draw this bow at 100 pounds of draw weight with a thumb style release. However, I am shooting Kasai style.
Be advised that when you see historical diagrams of archers shooting from a half-draw position, the difference between shooting a war bow from half-draw and shooting a recreational bow from half-draw is huge. The war bow from half-draw in a speed shooting technique still has enough energy to be lethal.
Now, I would eventually like to get some period correct arrows, get a chronograph, and some period correct armor, and do this in a more scholarly and academic way. I would also like to state that I am not trying to depreciate anyone's skill in archery with this video. I just want to make you an informed viewer, because you saw what a LARP weight bow did against that armor. The arrow simply bounced off. A 50-pound bow, the arrow simply bounced off. With lighter weight bows, you can literally use any technique that you want to do, it seems very disingenuous to me to take these forgotten secrets of archery and then recreate them with a bow that drew a weight that Attila's children would have laughed at. I'm not depreciating anyone's skill. It just saddens me to take something that is a martial art and turn it into a parlor trick. So I hope you guys have enjoyed watching this episode of Weird Wednesday for Tex Grebner Outdoors. As always, God bless all my sportsmen of America. Join the NRA to protect our rights. Please check out my friends over at SOETacticalGear.com. Thank you very much to those of you involved in law enforcement and those of you serving in the military. And thanks for watching Tex Grebner Outdoors.